Among monsters and beasts, I was never meant to blend in. I was born to rule. I am DKing Saad. Welcome to the DKing Combat Podcast. In the last episode, we spoke about something most people don't want to accept. No one is coming to save you. And if you really sat with that, if you really understood what that means, then this episode is where everything starts to shift. Because now the question is not what's wrong with your life. The real question is if no one is coming, who do you become? And I know for a lot of people that question feels heavy. It feels uncomfortable. Some of you listening right now, you might feel pressure. You might feel a bit lost. You might even feel a bit exposed. Good, that's real. Because that feeling, that pressure in your chest, that slight discomfort, that's where change begins. Not when you are comfortable, not when everything feels good, but right there in that moment. But here's the problem most people stop there. They understand the truth, they feel it, but they don't move. They say things like, yeah, I need to change. Yeah, I'll start soon. Yeah, I know I should do something. And then what happens? They go right back to the same habits, the same routine, the same way of thinking. Days passes, weeks pass, months pass, and nothing changes. So today, we are not talking about awareness. You already know enough. Today, we are talking about action. You don't need saving, you need building. You need to build a version of yourself that does not panic when things get uncomfortable, that doesn't shut down when things get hard, that doesn't wait for someone else to step in, someone who can stand on his own even when things are not perfect, even when things feel uncertain. Because let me tell you something honestly, confidence is not something you think about. It's not something you tell yourself in the mirror. Confidence is something you build, and you build it in a very simple way. You put yourself in a situation that tests you, and you don't run. That's it. You see how simple is that? Confidence is something you build, and to build that confidence is so simple. You put yourself in situations that tests you, and you don't run. That's very important. That's it. You have confidence. You don't wake up one day confident. You earn it. We all know that. I myself did a lot of practice to become confident. The first time you train, you feel awkward. The first time you push your limits, you feel weak. The first time you step out of your comfort zone, you feel exposed. Like everybody is watching you. I have been there. I remember those moments. Feeling like I didn't belong, feeling like I wasn't strong enough, feeling like I had to prove something. But that's part of it. You cannot run from it. Because every time you go through that and you don't back off, you build something inside you, something real. And slowly, without even noticing, you stop being the person who avoids. You become the person who handles things. That's the shift. And I have lived both sides of this. I know what it feels like to be on the weak side of things, to feel like you can't stand up for yourself, to feel like you don't have control over situations. And I also know what it feels like when you start building yourself. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to prove anything. You just carry yourself differently. You walk into a room differently. You look at situations differently. Not because you are trying to impress anyone, but because deep down you know what you are capable of. That's real confidence. It's quiet, it's controlled, it's solid, not loud, not fake, not for attention, real. But let's be honest for a second. This part is not easy. Building yourself is uncomfortable. There are days you won't feel like doing anything. There are days you will feel tired, days you will feel distracted, days you will question if it's even worth it. And this is where most people fall off. They start strong, then they disappear. They train for a few days, then life gets busy, and suddenly they're back where they started. That cycle, start, stop, that's what keeps people stuck for years. You don't build anything like that. You build strength by showing up when it's hard, when you are tired, when your schedule is full, when your mind is telling you to skip it. That's where the real work happens, because that's what builds discipline. And discipline is what builds real power. Not temporary motivation, not hype, real power. The kind that stays with you when things get real. And this is important because this is not just about training, this is not just about looking good, this is about being ready. Life doesn't warn you, situations don't give you time to prepare. When something happens, you don't sit there and think logically. You react based on how you have trained, based on what you have repeated. That's why I always say you don't rise to your potential, you fall to your level of preparation. Remember, Bruce Lee used to say that I don't scare from someone who knows 1000 kicks or something, but I'm scared from the person who practiced one punch 1000 times or 10,000 times. It's that important to be prepared. So if you are not preparing, what do you think gonna happen? You will freeze, you hesitate, you second guess yourself. And sometimes that one moment, that one particular moment is all it takes. That's why this matters. This is bigger than fitness. This is bigger than just training. This is about how you show up in life when things get stressful, when things get uncertain, when things don't go your way. Do you handle it or do you break? Because those moments will come. That's guaranteed. We all know that. The only question is, will you be ready for them or will you keep avoiding them? Because avoidance is what keeps people weak. They avoid discomfort, they avoid pressure, they avoid responsibility, and then they wonder why nothing in their life changes. But the moment you stop avoiding and start facing things directly, everything changes. You become sharper, more aware, more in control. That's the version of you you need to build. Not perfect, not invincible, but capable. Capable of handling life, capable of protecting yourself, capable of stepping up when it matters. And that doesn't happen by accident. It comes from work, daily work, small actions done consistently over time. That's how you build it. Small actions done consistently over time. So it's not magic that you do it tonight and tomorrow you are done, prepared everything. It takes time. That's how you build it. So if you are listening to this right now, don't just listen and move on. Take something from this, apply it. Start today, not next week, not when you feel ready. Today, train your body, train your mind, put yourself under pressure, even a little, and watch what happens. Because once you start building yourself, you don't go back. You don't think the same. You don't tolerate the same things. You don't move the same way. You become something different. And that's the goal, to become the man who doesn't need saving. Remember, what's the goal is? To become the man who doesn't need saving. Because at the end of the day, you already know the truth. No one is coming. So you build yourself into someone who doesn't need them to. And as always, remember, among monsters and beasts, you were never meant to blend in. You were built to rise. This is DKing Saad, and this is the DKing Combat Podcast.